Well, good afternoon. I'm Alec Hogg, and as you can see, I got three good-looking guys joining me in the webinar today. From left, Gerard Lombard, who's a director of Medwell SA. Sorry, from my left. Maybe just give us a double thumbs up there, Gerard, so everyone knows who you are. There we go. Adrian Gardiner, he's the guy with a there we go, in the cold part of the world. Where are you talking to us from today, Adrian?
I'm actually in our office in Port Elizabeth, Gqeberha.
Gqeberha. Okay, you taught me how to say that properly last time we spoke. And then Jack Nicklaus, who's joining us from St. Francis. Wonderful.
Exactly.
My
office as well.
Yeah, and Gerard, whereabouts are you?
Down in Cape Town, a wonderful rainy Cape Town. So it doesn't look like it's cold, but at least it's the better part of South Africa, if I may say.
Well, I can see you and I got the memo about the shirts we're supposed to wear, but it doesn't matter. You know, the memos don't always, sometimes they get lost in cyberspace. Stuart Lohman, my colleague who's in Cape Town as well, will be able to bring us up to date with all the tech stuff. Stu?
Excellent, thanks, Alec, and welcome all. Those new to the webinar, there's a little control panel on the right-hand side of your screen. If you can see the four gentlemen on screen and hear my voice, and just underneath there's a little presentation page. If you can see and hear all of that, there we go, Alec, I've got high fives coming through already. That's great to see. And then we also like to keep the webinars very conversational. The little question mark on that same control panel. If you can please put your questions in there, Alec can take it from there. But thanks, Alec, all good our side.
Brilliant. Okay, gents, we're going to talk about the St. Francis Links Villas. Now, Adrian and Jeff, I was with you there. It feels like just the other day. It's already a couple of months ago, where we did a really interesting interview on the site of the villas. What's the interest been like, Adrian? Well, maybe before we even go there, Adrian, you're an entrepreneur. We all know, most South Africans know you. You're getting more mature, I guess, is the best way of putting it. Why are you at your mature stage wanting to do something like this? What's keeping you turned on?
Good question. Thank you, Alec, and good morning to everybody. And thank you for all those people that have joined the webinar. And I hope you find it interesting. But to go back to your question, I obviously ask myself sometimes, you know, because as I told you last time, is I turned 80 in March, and why am I still involved in these developments? I think this one is particularly close to my heart because of the fact that it's close to where we live. I've actually met the original developer of St. Francis when they were originally digging the canals there and everything. And then obviously my relationship with Jeff and Liesel, that goes back to the days of Fan Court. And then, you know, we've been friends all along. And I just felt honored that they really chose us as to be their partners in this development. And then, you know, prior to COVID, as you know, we developed the hotel at Pearl Valley, which has been a great success in terms of a sectional title development there. And we were going to do a similar development at the Links. And then what happened, COVID came, and obviously everything came to a halt. And I think from that point of view, I can only say the only advantage that we've had out of COVID was that they made us rethink the offer of that, what we were going to put there. And after a lot of discussions with Liesel and Jeff and the market, we came up with this new idea of having what we call villas, 2-bedroom flats and single-bedroom flats. And, you know, obviously with the option of putting those into a rental pool. It's a separate piece of real estate with a separate homeowners association, but totally attached to the Links. And I think my history goes back, as you know, Alec, a long way with golf courses. Originally, we were involved at Steenberg, where we owned the hotel and the winery, and we used to run the clubhouse there. And then we did a golf course with Gary Player at Bushman Sands, which unfortunately wasn't the success we hoped it would be. And then, as you know, the government gave us the Fish River to look after. We had the custodianship there for 4 years, and we just managed to find a tenant for that. So, and then golf in itself, you know, with my relationship with Ernie Else, that goes back probably nearly 35 years, where his father and I were in a business together, and Ernie grew up like a godchild to us, to our family. And then obviously my incredible relationship with the player family because of Ian and what Ian did for us in terms of when we created Shamwari and all his backup there. And obviously through Ian, I got to know Gary very well and had the privilege of going to the Masters Prize, Gary taking me through the clubhouse. So, you know, when you talk about this development, you're talking about something to do with golf, with sport, with personalities that we know well and Jeff knows well. And we really, of the ones that I've done lately, I think this is probably the most exciting. So I hope I haven't taken too much of your time to give you a background of why I'm being entrepreneurial at my age. But this is really and you came there, and I'm grateful for that, to see what a magnificent site we've got, what an opportunity we've got. And I really hope it's a success that we want it to be, what Jeff and Liesl want it to be, and what the developers of the links, and that was Mike Wiley, who's always been behind us and very involved with support. So it's now on its way. We've started. We've had the sod turning, as you saw, and we're ready to go.
You forgot about Pearl Valley, but we won't hold you to that one either. Jeff, from your side, I've had quite a long relationship with you at St. Francis, so I know the links well. It was great to come and see this latest development. You are South African now, I hope, but you certainly don't come from South Africa. Your wife Liesl, who Adrian has referred to as the other part of the partnership, and where did this idea come from? The idea to bring Mr. Gardiner into the picture here, to do this almost like a gated estate or a gated community within the center of the St. Francis Links.
Well, first, Alex, thanks for allowing me to be here with you today. It's good to see you all. I think we must just touch on the fact that initially we got involved with Adrian and Mantis with the idea of putting a hotel in similar to Pearl Valley. And I would have welcomed a small hotel to accommodate a few more of our traveling guests. But I think I got a better of two worlds when we realized that, one, we're a very growing club, growing in membership, growing in homes we've built. And the idea of having a little villa estate within the community, I think in the end will serve us just as well, if not better, because there'll be a number of units that will be occupied. There'll be a number of units that'll be in the rental pool, and the location of the villas are right next to the clubhouse. So we can certainly cater for all of their needs from this side. And then obviously when we speak to Garrett about Medwell, we've got an opportunity to bring some medical assistance to our whole estate. Obviously the villas first, and that's from everybody from a pregnant mommy, and we certainly have a number of them here right now, right up to somebody who needs some care at an older age. I think it's a little match made in heaven. As Adrian pointed out, I was one of the very first guests way back at Shamwari when my kids were very small. And on Saturday, I go watch my daughter get married. So I guess we've been together a long time.
Gerard, it's important to bring you in here because when we were looking at where on the coast to stay, one of the first questions that my wife had was she doesn't like St. Francis because there's no hospital. There's and yet Medwell sounds very hospital-y. Help us.
All right, Alec, thank you for having me today. I'll try and enlighten you as to what we do. But I think first of all, the emphasis should be, what was the idea with this whole links development for St. Francis Villas? I think people should try and move away from the concept of just medical care. We've learned a lot over the past 2 years, but with COVID specifically, which has changed our industry significantly. But the emphasis is on proactive healthcare and lifestyle. We're seeing more and more traditional retirement villages, if I may call it that, not disappear, but the whole focus on developing is sustainable development to enable people to move into estates similar like these and grow old within these estates from a young age right through till the day you require care. And I think the idea here is to bring people in and say, come and live here with your children, whether you're pregnant or whether you're elderly. We can provide you with proactive healthcare services to enable you to stay independent for as long as possible. Doesn't matter what your age are. We've seen in St. Francis also, there's a shortage of this type of service. And what we are able to do at home these days are actually incredible. It's anything from postnatal care right up to providing care for somebody on a ventilator 24/7 in the comfort of your home. That's the extreme case. But our model these days are keep people healthy, independent. We don't want to see you actually, we want to keep you healthy. So it's a proactive approach to tie in with this lifestyle hospitality idea that we're seeing more and more being rolled out across the country.
Jeff, maybe you can just help us a little bit here. I did write in my newsletter this morning to our premium members that the world as forecast by Larry Page of Google in 2014 is coming to fruition very rapidly. And what he said then was that there would be an implosion of prices within heavily densified areas as people use technology to go elsewhere in the world. Now, we've mentioned a little bit now in healthcare with Gerard, so I get it that that's being taken care of at St. Francis. Even though you don't have a hospital, within the links there is a good healthcare facility. But what about the other things? Here in South Africa, there are a couple of big things. The one is Eskom and load shedding. The second one is water as we're looking into the future. But primarily for people who are living in cities and thinking of moving to a remote area or a relatively remote area compared with a city, it's to do with connectivity. Answer those three questions, and I think you've then got, you've got the boxes that most people want ticked, focused on. We've got a lot to go through in a moment on the individuals and the villas, but maybe we can just set the ground rules here.
Well, I think what makes this ideal are a couple of things. One, we built our own water treatment plant, so we provide potable water not only to our residents here, and we're in a desperate situation in the Eastern Cape, but we're also going to be able to provide for the local community as well that may not have their own facilities. In addition to that, we're seeking solar solutions right now for the club and the estate, grid tied. We certainly support SSEG, small scale energy generation, and a number of our homeowners have already walked that walk. We're also involved with the community. I mean, we're our own estate, we're our own municipality. I mean, we provide the electrical services, the sewer, the water, the whole bit. And right now they're laying fiber. So I think in terms of somebody who wants to work from home or can work from this area, we do have everything they need. And we've seen it as our estate's gone from 50% occupied to nearly 75% occupied with 220 odd homes built now. And the age coming down beautifully with a lot of young families and a lot of young children, which we like to see.
That's an important point. So you've already seen this relocation trend hit St. Francis links.
Very much so. We went over 80% at the start of COVID. And as I said, a lot of them have stayed, and now it's testimonial. It's friends of members coming. It's friends of friends coming. And there's been hardship in other parts of South Africa. And we can't say that the Eastern Cape doesn't come out with its own opportunities. And we have many opportunities. I'd rather put it in that regard. So you cross the Crom River Bridge and you're into semigration at its best.
Okay, so you got water, no problems there. You do your own water. Electricity, you're working on it with solar, a provider for the whole estate, and your fiber's being installed as we speak. Yeah. I'm sure that's going to be answering quite a few questions. Just to remind you, as Stuart said earlier, that there is a little question mark there on your control panel. Please type in your question and I'll pick them up and pose them to our guests. Adrian, let's get on to the business side of the business, shall we? And start going through the presentation. Do you want to just talk us through this slide?
Yeah, am I unmuted now? See, it keeps on coming on that I'm muted. Can you hear me?
And we can hear you now. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah.
All yours.
Okay, good. Obviously, the business side is a very important side for any person that wants to buy there. So we've done quite a few examples, and I think the best example that I use, if you went and Jeff can interrupt at any stage that he'd like to, but these are sort of quite accurate numbers, is that we come along and say, okay, if you bought a plot on the estate for 250,000 and it was a 300 square meter, then you've got rates and all the rest of it while you're building. So that comes on to another quite a lot of money. And then you've got all the things that go together with building your house: NHBRC, transfer duty, property transfer cost, transfer deeds office, postage, and everything else. And at the end of the day, 5 million, roughly, if we are seeing 5 million plus a little bit for a villa, by the time you've built the same thing on a plot there, you're over 6 million. So, because we're picking up all those costs for the next 18 months while we're building. So we're not asking for any, all we're asking is for a 10% deposit. So I think business-wise and everything is that, and you're coming into, as you, I think, very, put it very well, by you're in a gated estate within a gated estate. And security today is one of the most important things. And then plus the fact that we've got a variable. In other words, if you can have a 1-bedroom there with a nice lounge, you can obviously have the Medwell right next to you, you can have a 2-bedroom, or you can have a villa. And I think most importantly is that we have access to all those facilities that the links are offering. And I would like Jeff also to just go into a little bit of detail about all the other things that they're going to be building on. We were at a meeting the other day with Jeff and Liesl, and I actually couldn't believe all the other facilities that they were going to add to this estate, which I honestly think it'll become one of the best estates, if not the best estate in South Africa, because I don't think any other estate will have the facilities that they're offering. As you rightly pointed out, is that I mentioned Pearl Valley in the beginning by saying that we built the hotel there and that was a successful venture, but as we still own the golf course and the clubhouse, and we're trying to create a super estate there. And it's got the reputation there of security as well, and what goes with it. So, I think business-wise, it's, and obviously, I was the first to put my name down for a villa, and I'm being the developer, is that I wanted a villa. I really want one there. So I just say.
Let's just go through what you get, if you don't mind. We've got some really nice slides here that I'd like to whip through, and then we can go into everything that St. Francis is still going to have. 1-bedroom apartment. Obviously, it's 1 bedroom. What does this cost?
The 1-bedroom is 1950.
1950. And if I put my money down today, you say I got to put down 10%, and when would occupation be?
On the basis is that we're trying to get everything finished, and Jeff will remind me of the date where they host the big golf tournament at the end of the year, end of next year. So we're looking at November next year to get you into the place. Obviously, that's our really not guess, but that's a very professional estimate about where we should be in the timelines on it. So. And that's a double story, so you could buy 2 and you could put a door in between and all the rest of it. But that's for somebody who's in the latter part of their lives, may have lost a partner and that sort of thing. And it's quite an amazing little villa with an incredible view and access to what I've said before.
Yeah, I've seen the views. They are really, really nice. Okay, there's a little more of the picture of what you can get. 2-bedroom apartment. What does this go for? What's the number?
The 2-bedroom apartment is just short of 3 million, and again, that's a double story. It has a lift, and you have 2 garages with it, or you have a garage with it with a storeroom, and that is again the views from the top floor there are incredible, and I think those are selling probably faster than most at the moment because that's a lock up and go. So. We're also targeting the Swallows and that sort of thing, guys who want to come out there and enjoy probably, I think it's certainly the number 2 or 3 golf course in South Africa, the Jack Nicklaus course. Play your golf, go home and know that your place is looked after, and then the homeowners will supply the service for cleaning or whatever else, a rental pool. So it's just one of those incredible flats that you would, I think you should be very, I'm surprised that you didn't put your name down when you were there.
There's a lift. So is this for the
Yes,
old bullets?
Yeah, Alec, don't worry. I've put a mark on one of them for you.
But there's a lift there. I mean, that's quite innovative.
Yeah, because it's 3 stories. Because you've got the bottom where you park your garage. You park your car in the garage, and then you go up. You see. So I think that was important that we had that there.
Okay, on to there's a few more pictures about the 2-bedroom apartment, and they are beautiful. And they certainly the outlook and the models that you put together, good finishes, high quality finishes. And here's the villa. How much does this go for?
Depending where it is on the site, it's anything between 5.25 and 5.5. You know, because obviously some have got better views, maybe a bit more land with it and that sort of thing. And, you know, the difference with this one now is that you've got your own home. As you see, you've got a garage there that can also have your golf cart in it, or 2 cars. And, you know, it shows you there that you've got 2 bedrooms and a study. You know, there's nothing to stop you converting the 1 bedroom. And then there's the study. And then there's the opportunity to put a mezzanine floor in, because, you know, with the architectural design of the estate, we can put a mezzanine floor in there with a staircase up, or you could have a beautiful office. So, I mean, this contains everything, you know, and obviously the body corporate will do your garden for you and everything else that surrounds it. And you've got this absolutely magnificent view over the 18th. You see the sea, you see the mountains. You are probably facing northeast, and I mean, you saw it for yourself, Alec. I mean, it's very special. Those ones are exceptionally special.
And Jeff, I presume this is with a study there. This is very much a work from home, or somebody who's living in the city today. They could relocate to St. Francis, be incredibly secure because it is within the complex as it is. It's within the links itself. And there's a study, so you could do your work from there with the fiber once it's laid.
Yeah, I think you get up and you're less than 500 meters from breakfast in the club if you want it that way. If it is a come and go unit for yourself, obviously it goes back to the rental pool and the convenience. The location then is a very convenient location for golfers who want to come in as well. But I think I'd like to emphasize the quality. I'd like to emphasize the fact that when you stand on these sites, or first of all, when you're looking from the clubhouse, you look right over them. If you're on the land above, you look right over them. But each of these sites actually have ocean views and mountain views, second to none, as it is. If you've ever been in our clubhouse deck, that's what they're looking at from their homes. So I like what's come from it, and I like the fact that there's three or four different options in how it works, because that appeals to different people for different reasons.
Yeah, and there's a little bit more insight on the villa. Just to
one important point. Sorry, important point on the villa is that we do allow. We've got a concession to allow if you had a dog, you know. Then there's a fencing spec and that sort of thing. So they are animal friendly. And I think as important of all of this is that I think that really turned me on the links is that how incredibly conscious that they are of the environment. And I really lift my hat to Liesel and her team there. You know, just the other day when we were clearing the site, we found some very important vegetation there that we immediately moved and planted again. And then there was somebody who was getting rid of a whole lot of cycads, which we've made a very important request to have them moved to the site. And then I don't know if you saw in the Sunday Times, I think it was a week, not this last weekend, in fact, is that just the bird life on these sites now is becoming so important. The indigenous birds that appear and people taking more and more note of the environment, which they certainly do at the links. And I think, you know, that's what we stand for. As you know, Mantis is man and nature together is sustainable. So all those things also helped us in terms of really wanting to be involved in this incredible development.
All right, on this picture, you can see the medical center there. How jacked up is it? For instance, if someone has a heart attack, and please God, it doesn't happen, but someone lives there, they have a heart attack. If you're living in a city, you know that the nearest hospital is just around the corner. What kind of care could you give in that instance?
Alec, thanks. First of all, the typical facility, if I can give you something to compare it with, would be that of a typical doctor's surgery, or where you would see your general practitioner. And from there, we'll provide primary health care. Now, what's very important is, yes, I think one of the biggest questions out there is what happens if there's an emergency and there's no staff on site at that point in time. Maybe just to take one step back, you mentioned technology a bit earlier. Again, COVID made huge changes in our industry, where telemedicine is now becoming more prevalent within what we do on a day-to-day basis. Just to give you an idea, we've partnered with EcuGate, entity who facilitates emergency evacuations and enables us to connect via a specific platform with your existing current general practitioner or even specialist, with a device that you can wear, whether you go to the beach or wherever, that's GPS tracked. So technology has enabled us to provide primary health care on site, and then look at alternatives to get that emergency support on site within a fraction of the time it used to be. To give you an idea, the group gave us a good example of a gentleman who went tiger fishing up in the northern parts of Africa, and he got pulled off his canoe by a crocodile. And within 6 hours from being pulled into the river by the croc, he was in Pretoria on the table having surgery. So that type of level of extraction and support is actually unknown. But what the technology even allows us these days are to actually monitor you in real time. So typically somebody that's got post-operative care or had a heart attack, which we need to monitor, you can actually in real time see what their vitals are. And anything that goes outside those parameters, you get flagged to react and provide support. That's in extreme cases. It all depends on the package the initial or the buyers would buy into. There will be different packages which will enable you to gain access to that level of support. And obviously we'll communicate that in due course. But when staff is on site, all staff are trained with what we call not just first aid, but basic life support to provide that level of care should it be required.
That's really important, because I suppose, Jeff, you've lived in St. Francis for many years now at the links. The one question mark, I guess, that people from a city would be, and especially people who are a little more mature in life, will be wondering about is the fact that there's no hospital in St. Francis.
Yeah, the nearest hospital is obviously about 12 minutes away in Humansdorf, public-private hospital, and then the major hospitals in Port Elizabeth. But if there was two things in the 16 years I've been here that probably people, the first questions asked, education, hospitals. And so for the young families, we've got brilliant schools around us. And I think with what Medwell offers is immediate reaction. And I mean, even listening to Kara now, I picked up more than I knew before. And it is about communication. We have had a couple of incidents on the estate where the services have arrived very, very quickly. But imagine if the nurse is 30 meters away, that makes it even that much better. And I'm kind of pushed this sideways a little bit. You know, one of the things that makes this place work is we're 450 hectares with a lot of walking trails and a lot of roads. We do park runs on Saturdays. So we kind of want to make sure he doesn't get too busy. We try to just keep people healthy on a daily basis.
And Adrian, there are lots of villas here. How many are there? Can you give us a breakdown between the villas and the 1 bedrooms and the 2 bedrooms?
Sorry, there are 14 villas. There are 8 2-bedroom, and I just want to correct the price is 3,850 for the 2-bedroom. As I think I mentioned, around about 3, but it's 1,950 for the single bedroom, and there are 12 of those. So there's 12, that's 20, and there's 34 units altogether. Now, I'll tell you, and I think it's a good thing, we're restricted to the number of rooms that we can put on the site in terms of the authority that we have from the council, because it was basically, it was for a hotel, and then so therefore the number of rooms is restricted, relevant to what the site is. And I think that even makes it more attractive. So there is a restriction on we can't build any more on the site. So nobody can come afterwards and say, look, we want to build this, I want to do that, and all the rest of it, because it's designed around what we've put on there. And you'll see in the map there, and I think it's the top left, is the original hotel bedroom. There are 2 bedrooms in there, and then 2 single bedrooms, and then there's a bedroom with a 2-bedroom apartment in there. So that we can convert into quite, I would think, and I think Jeff agrees with me, one of the best positions on the whole estate there of ours is that, you know, it can be turned into, if somebody wanted a real big home there, there you could have a 4-bedroom home, converted quite easily. So that particular one is on the market for 8 million, because I mean it's real, and we would do any adjustments. Obviously, there we've got a provision to supply a garage and that sort of thing to do the add-ons to it. So that one just needs a bit of modification, but we haven't done it until we found the buyer who tells us, well, look, this is what I would like. But it's a one-off.
Yeah, that's the one that I visited and had a look at. Jeff, it's quite close to the clubhouse, though. Do you guys get rowdy there on a Friday night?
Oh, heck yes. No. Listen, we host a lot of weddings here. There's no doubt that there could be a bridal couple above that first unit at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But I think our building is designed to handle most everything. We had 250 in here these last 2 rugby matches, and I think it was quite tolerable. But I wanted to add something, because this came up, and I hadn't even said it to Adrian. This came up this week while I was talking to some people interested in the product. And they said one of the things that kind of put them off was the thought of sectional title and the fact that maybe rates could get away from us. And I'd like to just emphasize one thing. Everything here is based on property. Every member has to be a part of owning property. So when we structured what we needed from our side, what we thought was feasible, was we based our levies and our sub contributions on the number of bedrooms. And so while it's new income for St. Francis Links, the proposal put forth to Mantis and for the villas is very, very viable. And based, and I must just say this, and I don't mind tooting our horn, of all the top 10 estates, because we're located in the Eastern Cape, we've always been very price conscious, whether it's a green fee or a levy or a sub. And we're the lowest of all the top 10 clubs, and we intend to keep it that way. So we know we've got something special. We know the villas are going to be something special. You might pay a number up front that you think is a proper number for good accommodation, but when you factor in all the amenities that come with it, and the last thing we're doing now, which we're putting in front of the board tomorrow, is an expansion of our family facilities. You can go to Pearl Valley and they've got a lot of facilities. Fancourt's got a lot of facilities, and they can be proud of that. And sometimes the members need to realize they are paying for something that's very special. Well, in our particular case, our prices are probably half that or less, but we also see the need for more facilities. So in addition to our leisure center and pool, our trails in the back, our runs, now we're going to be building a family facility that's only, well, you actually walk across the 18th fairway, and it's across the street, and it'll be outdoor sport, outdoor braais, outdoor gym, all the kind of stuff that grandparents can take their kids to, and parents can take their family to, and parents can play themselves.
Jeff, just help me here. If I remember correctly, there is a bit of a slope. So in other words, if you're in Villa Unit D1, you're not going to be looking into the back of Unit D14 and D13. You're actually looking over them.
I'm going to go one step further. If Mike Wiley is listening, and I hope he is, he got here on site last week before he headed back up to Johannesburg, and we basically mapped out where we can create movement in that earth to give more privacy to the homes from the golf course to the homes, and use the natural terrain to ensure that everybody has those views they want. And so if you look at the drawings, obviously the front row is above a beautiful little natural dam full of birds to the left of our 18th fairway. And then the second row is quite a bit above them. And then the third row, or the back row, is above them. And even from the bottom position, you're looking out over St. Francis Bay with sea views and up to the mountains to the north.
We got quite a few questions coming through, and just to remind you, if you'd like to ask a question, I'll only use your first name, so you keep an anonymous, and just type it in, little question mark there on your control panel. Just type in the question that you want. Mazin, I think the name is, asks, what about a braai area, storeroom, garage? 3 questions in one. Can you help us out there, Adrian?
Yeah, with the braai area, obviously, obviously in the 2 blocks of flats, that's not going to be possible. But in the villa, we would assume that you would use the portable braai. With regard to the storeroom, you can use a part of the garage. We've made them long enough that you could lock off a piece there and use it as a storeroom, but we haven't put that in. And sorry, what was the third question? The braai, the storeroom. Well, the garage is, everything's got a garage except the 1 bedrooms.
But I might add for the benefit, the braai facilities for all the villas. The braai facilities are either on the upper floor of the 1-bedroom units. They are built in, and downstairs more of kind of a Weber approach just because of the garden. So I think everything but the 2-story, and they may have that opportunity there as well.
And why are there no garages for the 1-bedrooms? What's the thinking there?
I think it was a space issue there, and we thought that, again, those were people who were going to use them for weekends and that sort of thing. So we had a look at it, and it just didn't seem viable. And then where to put them was the other problem. In other words, we didn't want to put garages in front of the rooms that were on the bottom. So that would have, there are parking, but it is at a lower level. So we've been quite careful how we park there. So we haven't had any resistance, and we've sold quite a few of those 1-bedrooms, and that hasn't become an issue. So I don't know if you want to add to that, Jeff.
No, I think you summed it up best. I think it might be more short term that's there, and again, it's very convenient to the clubhouse side, but space was an issue at that part.
Michael has said that he's very keen, but unfortunately struggling with connectivity, with his connectivity. Will I be able to access a recording of today's session? Absolutely. We will have the recording on YouTube. Another question, St. Francis Links provides owners with private parking area higher up on the estate. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, what we've created is a boatyard. A lot of estates have designated areas. Obviously, we've got the canals and the ocean and all the area around us, so people have additional either boats or campers or things like that. So we built a boatyard in the back, and it's free for our homeowners use.
And I presume here where we can see on the picture parking in front of those 1-bedroom units, that's where you'd park your car. You don't have a garage, but you'd park your car there. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, let's have a look at more pictures. There's a beautiful one. Tell me why, gentlemen, I should be coming to St. Francis and not Hermanus or perhaps George or Neisner.
Well, I'll start that one. You can land in the Port Elizabeth Quebec Airport and be here in 1 hour and 15 minutes and not get stuck in any traffic. Once you cross the Crom River Bridge, it's very uncongested. We don't have any stop signs or stop lights. We've got brilliant restaurants. We've got access to the ocean, to hiking, to biking, and everything else you can imagine. We're still a village. We like it that way.
And Woolies and ShopRite Checkers and those kind of stores, are they accessible, available? Tell us a bit about St. Francis Village, or the village you talk about.
We don't allow that here. No, we've got a great store in town. If you need a Woolies fix, it's $92 and they deliver to your house. The nearest one's 30 minutes away. Well, 20 minutes away in Human Store.
But Jeff, tell us a bit about St. Francis. How many people live there? How secure is it? How remote is it?
Yeah, listen, we're not independent from anybody else where it comes to opportunity shopping. I mean, this is a resort community, and they probably had their share of snatch and grab along the way, but we've got a camera system throughout the town that's been very beneficial. We've not had any issues on the estate at all, to speak of at all. and to the point where we try to convince our members to put their alarm systems in, and they couldn't be bothered. But you still have to be vigilant. I think the community, what makes the community so special is its architecture. As you can see from this picture, we're basically black, white, and green, with white walls and dark roofs and the foliage around. We've got a lot of natural in the town. The old village started back in the late 50s with Leighton Hewlett, is Little Venice. You know, we had a devastating fire a few years ago, and everybody came back and rebuilt. And that's a beautiful area. And as I said, we've got fantastic restaurants. We've got great walking trails. You can connect the two harbors on foot or walk out down the Wildside coastline. Even one of the newest restaurants now is right there at the lighthouse, and it's been very well received. So we've got a very small town feel with a lot of big town stuff.
When I visited with Jack Nicklaus at Val de Vie, he was telling me that the state-of-the-art security system was really important there. That at Val de Vie, the people who bought there were impressed by the fact that they had sensors that picked up human temperatures, for instance. So they haven't had any, and they've got a serious group of security guys who look around it. Now, Val de Vie is a very large estate, but is that something similar here? In this day and age, especially those who live in cities, are looking for security or comfort with security.
I think the technology, we improve with technology every year. We constantly make upgrades to our own. I mean, obviously, we started 16 years ago with an electric fence and all the things you needed for perimeter deterrent, and we've made upgrades through the year there as well, through all the years. Security is our #1 issue, and the fact that we're unblemished is a great factor in attracting people to us. And I think access control is probably more important than the other. We've got nearly 1,000 people on the estate now, between residents, people who work with the residents, and construction. So our checkpoints are pretty sophisticated as well, to make sure that our members are looked after properly.
And the whole social vibe, again, as people move from a city to somewhere else, somewhere in the coast, they want to go there because they need the connectivity. We've ticked those 3 boxes, but what about the people who live there? What kind of people are you anticipating? And Jeff, maybe you can start with this, and then Adrian, I'd love to get your thoughts. Are going to actually occupy?
I can see street parties happening inside the villas. I can see them start at one house and end up at another and finish at another. That's already taking place in parts of the community where people have all come together. And there's no age group here. You know, it's really amazing. A given Wednesday, it's my 12-year-old little star, Sean Phil-Ewan, up to my 84-year-old who plays with him at the same time. So there's no levels here, and I like that a lot. My dad, when he could retire, went to one of those retirement communities in Arizona. He came back and said, "Son, I can't fly. I can't go where the flag's flying at half-mast all day." And I believe that, and I believe that we might have young families and the forever young in a very good climate here.
Adrian, what kind of people do you think will be investing in these villas? Investors?
You know,
or people who stay?
I just want to endorse what Jeff has said. You know, obviously, we're very proud to have the Medwell facility there. We have it at our, call it our estate in Plettenberg Bay, you know, and it's quite an interesting one there that does add value. So there's no ways that we wanted to sell this as a retirement part of the estate, you know, by just adding the Medwell. So that's why we've been very careful in how we positioned it, and I think Gerard has done an incredible job. Gerard has done an incredible job with that, with Kerry and with obviously Jeff, in that it's a facility for not only the estate, the major estate, but they have a hell of a reputation. So, but no ways did we ever think that this was a market we're going to target. So it's going to be very interesting to see. At the moment, I think the majority or all of our buyers that we've had so far are South African, you know, and obviously a lot of them from Johannesburg also. You know, what is quite interesting, and I think Jeff will confirm this, is that there are a number of people that actually have their first homes now in St. Francis and commute to town, you know, for the 3 days a week or whatever the case may be, even on a daily basis. As Jeff said, the commute to town is an hour and a quarter. You know, you do that if you're in London or wherever else. You're lucky if you can commute in a train in an hour and a quarter. So, you know, and the schools are nearby, great schools and everything else. So I think to a large extent is that it'll be a local market. When I say local, I'm calling it a South African market. We have had inquiries from in the international market, and that's interesting. And we will obviously pursue those as well. So I think that it's still early stages. We are out there, and I must say that I just really would like to say a word of appreciation to you and your team, you know, because you've put it out there, I think 4 or 5 times now, and we've had some significant inquiries from that. So to get the support of a company like yours to this is important. But as Jeff said, is that, you know, this is very unique. Here you've got probably one of the best golf estates in the country in a little village. And, you know, whilst he says that the major stores aren't there and everything, I mean, I stayed there. My daughter has a home on a canal there, and we go to the spa, we go wherever. I mean, you can get delivered to yourself. I mean, the sushi that we get delivered to the house there, it takes 15, 20 minutes. I mean, it's a phenomenal part of the world. You know, I just can't believe it that we've got this incredible little village next to us with one of the best golf estates, I think, not only in South Africa, probably in the world. And I think that's why it's taken off as it's taken off down there. I think when I was there last, Liesl said to me they're currently under construction in excess of 40 homes. Well, in fact now it's in excess of 70 homes because of the 30 odd that we're building. So you tell me another estate that's developing at that rate at the moment. So there's definitely a buy-in. And to add to that, with the medical facility that we're going to offer, you know, I just think that we're very lucky to be involved, and I can't wait to move in.
Jeff, how many homes do you still? How much space do you still have for? Yeah, Gerard, we're going to talk in a moment about the medical stuff, but how many more sites are available on the links itself? And what I'm trying to get at here is, when does the construction end?
Yeah, well, I don't think the construction is going to end because we don't require it. We have in our equation about 540 properties, residential properties, that spread out over those 450 hectares. So you can see large portions of open space between, and not many of them directly on the course. But the good news is 530 of those are now sold. 530 of the 540 properties are sold, and as I say, we're building at quite a rate. Some of my members would hope that nobody ever builds their home here. They love it. But at the end of the day, even if I look at this picture that's in front of me right now, I can count 8 homes that are under construction in that picture, including my own. So at any rate, I just think it's really positive what we're seeing. And I don't think we would be attracting Adrian or Medwell or the amount of respect that we're getting from investors if we weren't offering some good things.
Gerard, so you're now going to have Adrian moving in there. He's told us that he's buying a villa and he's going to be living on your doorstep. What would make him come there rather than any of the other estates that you guys are represented at?
I think I won't go into the detail about you, Adrian, but Adrian is luckily still healthy and still kicking and still playing golf. I think what one should look at is what we typically would do is try and establish what the resident or the person that would reside there long term, what their current health status is. So we look at it from a perspective to see what's your chronic issues, if you have any chronic issues, and how can we assist you to manage them. Doesn't mean you require care, it's to support you and guide you. But I think there's something that we haven't discussed yet is it also opens up the door for Adrian to go to a quartet and play golf there, because we can transfer all his information there. And even your tourism market, where you've got an elderly population, for example, who wants to travel around. They want to play golf in Plet, they want to play golf on the Links Estate in St. Francis, but the husband or the wife needs a bit of extra support, and they are now limited with their movement. So it opens up that tourism component where we can say, you know, whether you live in Cape Town, irrespective of where, we can support you there as well. And we're seeing that industry picking up. We just had a carer that traveled to the States for a couple of weeks with a couple. So I think people are changing their mindsets on how they approach traveling around the world, tourism, etc. And I think for someone like Adrian, he's got the peace of mind that he can live there, he can grow old, and if he needs that support, we can be there for him if need be. But I think that's the last thing we want to do. We want to keep people active and healthy as long as possible.
There's a question from Barry. He wants to know, are golf carts permitted on the course, Jeff?
Yes, almost every resident has one, actually. My parents were unique. They showed the picture of the villa with one golf cart and one car. When my parents retired, it was two golf carts and one car. So it's pretty much residential travel in this place.
Adrian, the golfing part is a big part of this. Did that play a role in your decision to go and live there?
You know, Karen, thank you for saying it, but I mean, I haven't played now for probably a year because I had both knees replaced. So, you know, I'm still, I need your help to get them. They're coming right, but I didn't realize it would take that long to get them right. But so I can't wait to get back there. But it's the atmosphere, you know, having lived at, I still have a home at Steenberg, and having lived on that estate and seeing it there and just seeing, you go to the clubhouse and that's like playing golf. I mean, you sit in that clubhouse, you see all your guys come in, whether we play golf, have a cup of coffee or breakfast or whatever. That's part of the golf. It's not just being on the course, but to have that open space and to see the wildlife and the environment around you like that, it's something very special. And one thing we didn't mention was that, what we're offering any buyer there is, you call it a Mantis type card, where you can go to any of our properties, certainly in Southern Africa, and get a discount. And, a lot of that is obviously we would target you towards our boats on the Zambezi and Chobe Zambezi River. That's just a unique experience on its own. And not just to any of your viewers that haven't seen animals from the water, believe me, it's a very different experience than seeing it from a game viewer. So, there's other opportunities with us. So I just think that living in an environment like that, it's something special. You look at those houses that we're building now. I mean, Steenberg's like that. Jeff, you'll agree. They're on top of each other, but we never hear a neighbor. We've got our own little gardens and everything else. And there's 220 houses there. And we never have any issues like that and overlooking the course and whatever. So don't think you're in a cramped environment. You're in a very special environment with access to, in my opinion, one of the best clubhouses in the whole of the country and what it offers there. And to the health facility, the gym and the swimming pool and all that, and all these other things that they're going to offer there. So, I mean, I would think that at the end of this chat that we're having now, if we haven't sold out, well, then people are missing out on something, Alex.
Well, it's I can see it. I think the question is the remoteness or the perceived remoteness of St. Francis. It's how far from Gqeberha?
An hour and a quarter.
Yeah, hour and 15 minutes to the airport. No traffic.
If you want to get to Johannesburg or Cape Town, there's a big airport at Gqeberha. But actually, I suppose if you're living there and you've got connectivity, who would want to go to the city? Is that how often do your guys, Jeff, the 80% now of homeowners on the estate, how often do they travel? Are there people there who have their families on the estate and they travel to work in Johannesburg or Cape Town in this day and age of remote working?
I think you find that there's a lot of people in the Eastern Cape that still travel to Johannesburg. Johannesburg's the hub, so we've got enough flights daily to take care of that. I've often had meetings up there where I've taken the first flight up in the morning on a Tuesday and the last flight back, and it's done in a day, and I'm leaving from here. So there are a number of people who commute, but I think there's also most of these young guys have got the wherewithal to do their work, and a lot of them just sit right up here on our deck. They bring their laptop, they have our cappuccino, and off they go for the day. It's brilliant.
There's a question here about, I'll read it to you as it came in. I hear the Links has a substantial supply of money in the kitty for protection of the estate and improvements, etc.
Well, I'm very pleased to say that as young as we are, we've got a pretty sophisticated game plan for looking after our assets. We've got members that have helped us along the way. We've got an astute board, but we look at things with a 25-year plan in 5-year increments, and every year we drop a year, add a year, and we do it in real time. So we're not basing it on perceived inflation or perceived interest on our investments, but we started investing in 2014. We've got strong assets in the bank. We're banking every year, and we banked every year through COVID. We even made provisions in COVID to take a hit with international business, and we actually got better and got bigger. So maybe that's part of the reasons why we're attracting good people. But yes, I feel very strongly that what we've got with our reserves and our business plan, which enables us to do the projects we've done. Matter of fact, to date, we've never touched our hard reserves. We've done everything we have within our own cash flow. So I think the first project we're going to be doing is tomorrow in our board meeting, convincing the board we might have to touch a couple rand to do this new facility.
It doesn't surprise me knowing that Mike Wiley is very intimately involved. Those people who know Michael, he was the builder and CEO and then chairman of Wilson Bailey, the blue chip construction company in South Africa. And I know he's kind of the unofficial mayor of St. Francis. So no doubt he's still playing a big role there, as well as keeping the balance sheet strong. There's a question here. Do the villas have charging points for the carts?
Yes, that wouldn't be a problem at all. Yeah.
No, that wouldn't be a problem. They certainly do. And the other important thing that you need to add is that, if you want to go and do a game experience, you're 2 hours away, 2.25 hours away from one of the most famous game reserves in Africa, malaria free. So you don't have to get in a plane and go all the way up to the Kruger or anywhere else. You can do a big 5 experience at probably 15 or 16 game reserves in the Eastern Cape. So that, I think, is another good selling point, especially if you're bringing up children and you want them to be involved in the environment. The Eastern Cape has become a destination for wildlife.
Good point. I drove for 6 hours to the bush this weekend. So you're telling me that from St. Francis, it would have been only 2 hours. Final question, from Kerry. Would I be able to invest now and earn an income from my property until I'm ready to move in at a later stage? That's a good one for you, Adrian.
Well, I don't quite understand the question, because if the property is not finished, how can we get an income to pay the returns?
I think Kerry's point is if he or she were to invest now in the property, and they might only want to move in 5 years' time, say, what happens to the property between now and 5 years, or even longer than that?
In other words, where is their capital?
I think, Adrian, they're referring to putting a rental pool, and because we reduced the number of opportunities on the estate with people becoming permanent residents. The demand for that rental, I wouldn't tell you to build the place for rental income, but you certainly subsidize your investment with that opportunity, especially with the location.
We've done quite a lot of work on that. So if that particular investor wants to see the working figures, we can send it to him. So rather than me go into detail here, I've got a spreadsheet in front of me, but I think the right way to do it is that if that person, depending on where he wants to invest, is it a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, or a villa? Because we've done different examples of each one of those. So I think if he would send you his contact details and ask us if he would want us to send him the workings that we've done going forward.
Yeah, Kerry, if you could do that. There was a follow-up question from Kerry to say, is there a need on the estate for short-term letting properties? I.e., that's exactly what you were saying earlier, Jeff. Do people come to the estate to come and play golf or to base themselves there over holiday periods where they need accommodation? And you said there is.
Yeah, I mean, internationally, they always wanted to be around. You've got a lot of opportunities for accommodation here in the village, but people like to be close. the opportunity to come here and fire up your own braai at night and not even leave the estate, that's a real deal. That's we've always been an attraction for groups and for couples to come and do that.
We got time for one more question. It's exactly 1 hour in. Each property offers the owner an opportunity of becoming a member, or does each property offer the owner an opportunity of becoming a member at the Links Golf Course through the levies? What is it? What's the membership?
It's actually required. It's actually required. Everyone who owns property here is a member of the estate and a shareholder in our club. It gives them their usage privileges and everything that goes with a proper country club setup. They can have guests accompanied or unaccompanied on a space available basis. Yeah, so they're very much a part of the whole picture when they invest here.
I'll give you just an opportunity, if you wouldn't mind, Gerard. You haven't really had too much to say. The other two gents have been dominating the conversation. Would you like to just give us your final thoughts before we ask them to as well?
I think, thank you. I think the aim here is still, the focus is a lifestyle estate and not a retirement estate. And I think what Adrian and the team has done here is to create an opportunity for young and old to move to a fantastic location. I was privileged enough to be there a couple of months ago. And to reside there, rest assured that should I need somebody to take out stitches or should I just need some advice and guidance, it's there and it's available. And I think it's a new concept which not a lot of people has put out there as of yet. So it's almost bringing in the medical into the hospitality industry, which is, I think, something new to the market. And I'm quite excited to see what's going to happen here. And I think you're going to get a lot of uptake with people who wants to move somewhere, grow old with the comfort to knowing I can grow old from an early age and stay in my community with a variety of options for the future. So I think it's a fantastic concept. So I want to congratulate them. I think they're the first in the market with something like this. The difference is you've got all the amenities on your doorstep already, whereas other, let's call it lifestyle estates, they're trying to add all of this. Everything is already there. So I look forward to being part of this journey, being part of the journey at Quartet, and I think it's quite successful there. And we'll keep our eyes peeled, and definitely I've made a note of the date of November 2023. So we look forward to being part of that as well.
Jeff, I think we can end with this this picture, this slide. This is the 18th, isn't it?
Yes.
So if you have a look at the clubhouse straight ahead of you, to the left of the clubhouse is where the project is going to be. So you'll be a little bit behind. Are you in the fynbos there? Is there going to be fynbos between the houses and the fairway?
Yes. Yeah, and a lake, a substantial lake that runs up to the left side of our 18th. I'll finish by just saying this, guys. People don't think about our climate. You know, I lived in a hot and cold state known as Iowa, which got to be hotter and colder than anywhere in America. And if you look at this picture, I'm sorry to say I could have taken that this morning. So, you know, if you woke up to that frost in Joburg, sorry, you might think it's heaven up there in January, but we got this green stuff all year long, and we can't keep it a secret that the wind doesn't blow as much as you think it does. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here as long as I am.
Adrian, last word?
Yeah, I endorse exactly what Gerard and Jeff have said, and thank you both for being part of this development. And Alec, to you and your team, a special thanks. But you know, just looking at that picture, and as Jeff says, it's really what it looks like today. You know, so it's year-round green. It's very environmentally friendly. It's a unique development, and I'm very proud that we managed to get our association with Medwell and to be associated with an incredible development and the people that run it. And I know what Jeff answered just now because I'm involved in homeowners associations in other states and what they've done and what they have in their reserves. Jeff, Liesel, and your team, you can be very proud of that. And it's obviously a great asset to us when we're selling what we're selling. And I know that all the people that own there will contribute to it and hopefully just keep on making it into a better place. So I'm looking forward to many more years of health without having to use you, Gerard, but I know that you're there if I do need you. So, and Alec, all the best, and I look forward to seeing you at your conference in 30 days time or so, or not even.
3
so,
weeks. In the
3 weeks. What? Yeah, I can't wait to get there now. So we're all on board, and we look forward to that and all the good work that you do. And Jeff, just keep it up there, because I'm going to have to start again after my legs are back in business. So I need a pro.
I'm here for you.
Adrian Gardiner, Jack Nicklaus, Gerard Lombard, it's been a pleasure to have this webinar today, opening up some more insight into the project at St. Francis. I'm Alec Hogg from biznews.com. Until the next time, cheerio.
Bye.
Bye.